Hey everybody, welcome to our video series that breaks down every single tool in the myCADtools suite. Each week we're going to break down one of the over 30 tools in the myCADtools suite. This week's video is devoted to the GetCoordinates tool. This is a great tool if you have to send out a lot of XYZ coordinate information to manufacturers. The GetCoordinates tool makes it possible to rapidly extract the 3D, which is the XYZ coordinates, from a part file using various predetermined SolidWorks elements. As you may have guessed, these SolidWorks elements are faces, edges, points, vertices, sketches, and you can choose the origin for exporting, or you can also choose a coordinate system. You can create 3D annotations and export those XYZ coordinates to Excel or a text file. Alright, so let's take a look at how the GetCoordinates tool works by taking a look at this part file. So here we have the GetCoordinates tool in the myCADtools toolbar, and that pulls up the GetCoordinates tool right here. We have three main sections here. We have export to a file, we have create notes with coordinates, and the last one is create table, both of which we'll get to a little later. And we have the selected reference elements, and this is where those SolidWorks elements that we mentioned before will be selected. Before we do that though, let's take a look at our selected coordinate system. Our default is set to origin. However, if you do have a secondary coordinate system that you would like to add, you can add it in here. We'll just leave it as origin, however. And then we can export the results as either an Excel spreadsheet or a text document. I'm going to leave the Excel spreadsheet chosen because it does keep our information very clean and neatly organized. So now all we need to do is select the SolidWorks element that we want translated into XYZ data. We can either do that by selecting from the graphics area. We can make sure that our selected reference elements field is highlighted blue. And then we can select faces, we can select edge, we can select points, and we can also select entire sketches. So we have these four elements: one face, one line, an individual point, and an entire sketch. We can select an infinite amount of elements, and this tool will go ahead and generate all of the XYZ data for those elements. Now before I hit export and generate that Excel spreadsheet, we also have the ability to create notes with coordinates. Now we can change the note style to any one of these. We have circular, triangular, hexagonal, etc. And then we can put in the notes text that we want right here, and that'll show up on our Excel report. We can't do anything with create table yet, and in fact if I select it, you can see this option is only available for drawings. I do have a drawing open that we can take a look at this a little bit later, but for now I'll just click OK, stick with these top two. Similar to most of the myCADtools, we do have an options tab here that allow us to filter out different aspects of that data. Right now our default selection is set to show the units of the document, and that's set to 2 decimal points. If you'd like fractional value shown instead of decimals, that's an option as well. And then we have the option to filter out all of this information, or we can just leave it selected and that will generate information based on those selections. This whole section here is if you select an entire sketch, it will extract the point, line, arc, ellipsis, spline, and parabola data by default. But if you do want to deselect any of those, you have the option. And finally, this last selection applies to drawings when we insert tables. We can anchor the table in the upper left, upper right, lower left, and lower right. The default is set to not use a table template, but if you do have a specific table template that you can use, you'll just browse to it here, and then that can be used for your table. So that's all of our options. Now I think we're ready to export that information into an Excel file. It's important to note that if you do select a point, then you'll just get one XYZ coordinate for that singular point. If you select a line, it will give you both of the endpoints of that line in XYZ coordinates. If you select a circle, it'll give you the radius and the XYZ coordinates of the center of that circle. Same with arcs, plus the arc endpoints. And if you select a spline, it'll give you all of the defined areas of that spline. So I'm just going to go ahead and click export, and that'll generate that Excel file. I'm going to stop the video while this Excel file is being generated because it will take a little bit of time. And that Excel sheet popped up on my other screen, so I'll just bring it over. We have mark 1 through, mark 1 through 45, and you can see all the columns have different bits of information. We have the XYZ. If our element has a radius, it's mentioned here. And in our description, we just have the face, segment, point, and sketch associated for each one of those elements. So then you can go ahead and take this information, send it off to wherever it needs to be sent, and you're all set. Pretty nice. And now before I leave you, I just want to point out two things. Number one, if the GetCoordinates tool isn't open, I'll just go ahead and close it, go back to our assembly, Now you'll notice that the GetCoordinates tool is grayed out here, so I cannot open the GetCoordinates tool in an assembly. So if I want to use it on an assembly, I'll have to go into a part file, open the GetCoordinates tool, move back to that assembly, and then it allows me to select faces, points, etc., full sketches, and I can go ahead and generate a point for elements in this assembly. So that's a little workaround. This tool really is designed for parts, but I did want to show you that you can use it for assemblies. However, let's go ahead and minimize this, as all the commands and functionality are identical if you do use it for an assembly. But now I want to take you over to a drawing. And now, just by having this drawing open, our create table is option, and it gives you the ability to create a table using those same exact note styles that we had earlier. And you can specify the note number, and all of that information will then be generated to your Excel file once it's exported. So that's the GetCoordinates tool in the myCADtools suite. This tool will really make your life easier if you have to send out XYZ coordinates to your manufacturer frequently. It's also helpful if you're, say, reverse engineering a part and you're already given the coordinates and you just need to cross-reference them for your own benefit, but the ability is there, and if you ever do end up needing this tool, it's very helpful. Thanks for watching. I hope it's been helpful. If you do have any questions, please feel free to email us at solidworksupport@mlc-cad.com, and we'll see you next time.